Good evening, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Google+. This is Rich again, back for your third and final video blog of the night for Wednesday, May 25th, 2016, around 7:14 in the evening, Billerica, Massachusetts. It's getting to be a little cloudy after a warm day. 88 degrees was reached in Boston, Logan Airport officially. That's the first time in 2016 the mercury has reached 80 degrees. And it's supposed to be 80s and 90s for the next couple of days. Get out the suntan lotion. Some news to report. San Antonio Spurs has announced that power forward center Tim Duncan is going to be returning next season for his 20th season in the NBA. So congratulations. He might retire after the 2016-2017 season. And News 6 anchor in Orlando, Florida, Lisa Bell, is going to have another baby boy. Her son Henry is going to be a big brother, and he'll have a brother. So congratulations to Lisa. I was picking that Lisa had a baby girl so she could have a mini-me like Julie Broughton. Mini-me is her daughter Isla. But anyway, congratulations once again to her, and hopefully she has a healthy baby. And that's about it on news. My third and final video blog subject of the night is about the podcast that's on Place to Be Nation and PWOPTBN podcast network. It's Where the Big Boys Play podcast. Where the Big Boys Play podcast goes through a chronological order of each NWA/WCW supercard and pay-per-view, and it's hosted by Parv, who's from England, and Chad Campbell, who lives in the southern United States. Where the Big Boys Play podcast started in 2012 with the very first Starcade, and they've reviewed every single WCW pay-per-view up to and supercard to date up to Clash 21, and mostly they have reviewed every WCW supercard, and sometimes some of the podcasts they've reviewed the AWA or best WCW television matches of each year, and also they had a 1980s award edition of Where the Place to Be. I mean, Where the Big Boys Play, and they've had like a couple of times the greatest wrestling matches and the greatest wrestlers of all time. Usually, a typical Where the Big Boys Play podcast usually has the first segment is the Mousers, like for the Wrestling Observer newsletters the weeks prior to the WCW supercard, and sometimes the newsletters mainly they talk about WCW news, like, comings and goings and some backstage stuff, and some of it's very, very funny. They had like a running joke for several of them that the Iron Sheik's contract, from 1989 through early 1991, automatically got renewed every 90 days. And they also talked about Junkyard Dog a lot. They also talked about Jim Herd on this. And they talked about one time Staleness at the Top, which was around 1990 or so, with both WCW and WWE, with Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan being on top too long, and the fans were getting tired of that, so that's what he said. Stillness at the top, and they also that usually this news segment would go between like 30 to like 60 minutes long, and then they would review each podcast with like the show, like from the first match to the last match. They would tell you like face and peril, also the interview segments or like the promos of the pay-per-views or the supercards, and some of the reviews of the pay-per-view or supercards could go as short as an hour long to maybe 2 or 3 hours long. Sometimes they have a guest on talking about the certain like supercard or pay-per-view if they attended it or watched it, and then afterwards they would have the end of match awards, which they had the best match, the MVP, and the last one is the Superstar Billy Graham Award, which is the worst performance by a wrestler on the pay-per-view or supercard. Superstar Billy Graham was a legendary wrestler, but when he wrestled for Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, he was awful, because he had that kung fu gimmick, which was awful for him. Plus, this is when Superstar Billy Graham was heavy into steroids. And then after they did that, Chad and Parv would talk about the upcoming podcast they would talk about, and at the ending they would have like Jim Ross say, for all of us at WCW, for the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes and Cowboy Bill Watts, this is Jim Ross. Good night, everybody. And they would have play the theme music of the old WCW Saturday Night circa 92, 93. And at the beginning of the podcast, they would have, ladies and gentlemen, our next event of the evening is a one-fall contest with a 60-minute time limit. That would be Dr. Tom Miller, who was not really a doctor. They nicknamed him the Doctor, old Mid-Atlantic ring announcer. And they would, introduction would have, what I like to have right now, Rick Rude. This is where the big boys play. This is where the big boys play. This is where the big boys play. We're not here to play. That's Kevin Nash. I love listening to the Place to Be Where the Big Boys Play podcast because it's so entertaining. Like, Parv and Chad have a lot of chemistry, and I can't wait for them to start reviewing more of the pay-per-views when you go into the Hogan, like coming into WCW and the NWO era. And they usually do these podcasts twice a month for a long time. Then they took a break for a while because Chad has a family and he got went through a couple of job so 2015 they did it on an infrequent basis, but they're getting back to a normal schedule of trying to do it twice a month. And I love their podcast, so it's one of the best pro wrestling nostalgia broadcast out there. And that's about it on that. Some future show I'm going to be doing paid a video blog about the Place to Be Vintage Vault. That's coming up shortly, but not in the next few days. Tomorrow, 3 more video blogs coming your way. First video blog will be about my review of Starrcade 1994, which was held in Nashville, Tennessee. Second video blog of the day will be about MBTA bus route 68 that goes from Kendall Station to Harvard Square. And the third and final video blog of the night will be about Highway construction projects. My proposal for they do highway construction projects during the nighttime, in my humble opinion. I would like to see that at nighttime all over the place. And lots of great video blogs coming up your way in the coming days, weeks, months, years, and decades ahead. Don't forget Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Google+. Soon, beginning next Wednesday, send in your request for what you want me to talk about on a video blog next Wednesday and Friday, second video blog. Send it, private message me. I will be doing a blog, whatever you tell me to do. Except ones that I've already covered with personality profiles and stuff and other stuff, because once I cover a personality profile, you won't hear that. There won't be another repeat of that, because I don't do repeats personality profiles on here. And keep calm, everybody. I'm a Julian guy. Wally Osborne of WCCO, excellent, nice legs. Elizabeth Hutt is so stunning. She's the best. Amy Swensee's so awesome. Linda Church is a cougar. And Papa Gibbs of ABC 11 has a sweet southern accent. And in the words of Dr. Thomas Sharkey, this action will not be tolerated at BMHS. Good night, everybody. And sweet.